All right, today I'm going to be breaking down the song Working for the Weekend, produced by AGR, performed and written by Max. So, I'm going to give you guys a quick listen and then we can get into it.
I've been working for the weekend, but that weekend never came. Will you pack my bag tomorrow if I break my back today?
All right, so we're not actually going to be using this right here. That's just for me to hear how the melodies sound together, make sure everything stays in key. The main part of it is actually going to be a bass slash sort of a palm muted guitar, and that's what this is right here. Um, it's actually a sort of like swung, kind of like really syncopated set of notes. So the snap is happening on the 2 and the 4. So on the, I think it's, let's see, 2. I would say so if you were counting like 1 E and a, 2 E and a, it would be on the E of it. So it'd be 1 E and a, 2 E and a. So it's right here, 2 E and a. That's how you would put the notes there. Sounds like this. So just that and the beginning snaps sound like this. Same thing with the bass. There is a small breakdown video that AGR and Max do, I think on Beats, and I directly sampled the 808 they were using, and I filtered out some of the high end just to keep it as pure as possible. And that sounds like this. I did the same thing with this snap right here. And this bass. And that is how I made sure that everything I was playing was the correct notes. I did my own sort of reverse vocal effect here using Edison and reverb, very standard affair. But this one is the one that is taken directly from the song, and I layered that back in there just because it had a different area effect that I just knew needed to be in there for the same impact to be had. So, literally from what I've seen in the video, the 808s are just following the bass as a sub. So far, the notes have been B, then E, then A, and then on the 4th bar, they're usually D. I also directly sampled from the song their drums, which I had to put in a little bit of work to chop them up a bit just to make sure they were aligned. It took a bit of figuring out because I really wasn't sure if the song was at 100 or 101 BPM, and I figured out that it's at 101 after a little bit of work. So this right here is the 808s. And if you hear that with the bass, this is what it sounds like. Just adds a lot of good subharmonics. And I'm using a serum patch off of Splice. Let's see what I was using. The FGP Guitar Acoustic Muted. Just to get that extra bit of high end. There are a few parts of the song that I just wasn't able to get into. Like, there's a few higher guitar parts that I couldn't really make out the notes for, and I felt like that would probably take me like a month to figure out what was actually being played without just like asking them. Later on, there's this transition right here, which I'll show you hopefully a direct clip of the song. Let's see. Well, I do my time, I guess. So, I just used a Rhodes piano for that transition. And it's not used in this because the chords sort of fall off. But the anticipated chord would probably be this right here, which is a D major. But it goes B minor, then E minor, then A major, and then again, it would be anticipated that there's a D major right there. One of my favorite parts is that it actually does kind of come in a bar late the whole song. That's something that I think most people should do in general, just because you have this part where
I've been working.
Just the vocals are going on, and then it comes into the beat, and I feel like that's very effective. Especially when you have like the chorus. Like, people do that with the chorus all the time, but when you do that for the intro of the song, I feel like it adds like an immediate attention grabbing sort of dynamic to it that isn't really found in a lot of songs, or as many as I wish. The next part that I had a lot of fun with was, again, it's another serum patch. Just because I didn't feel like using my contact library for the horns, but and you can see I have a small overlap here just so that you get that glissando, that portamento, whatever you want to call it. And this is how it's going to sound with the beat. Hopefully I don't get copyrighted, but this is how the actual beat sounds. So I think that's near identical. I can show you guys the actual notes real quick. So it's going B, 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 C sharp, D, E, D. Again, B, 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 C sharp, D, E, B. Then it's you can hear it goes down. For that last repetition, it's A, B, C sharp, B, A, which I'm fairly confident is correct. Let's turn off this piano right here.
I've been working for the weekend.
So there is this little I ended up actually using this Somatics 808 mob snare. And there's this little bounce note in here right here, but it's basically just a very standard snare roll, which you can hear here real quick.
Break my back today. I've been working for the weekend. Break my back today. I've been working for the weekend, but that weekend never came. Will you pack my bag tomorrow?
Now, the main driving energy is obviously the bass and the guitar mutes. But I think what really pulls the chorus up, there's not too much extra instrumentation. there are um, a ton of stacked vocals, which brings an insane amount of energy to it. You have little passages where background vocals and foreground vocals are sort of mixing and interchanging spaces, which makes it alive. I think the other thing that really brings the song to life, besides the mastering, of course, because obviously, as you can see, even from here, there's a part that is very stripped back, a sort of bridge, and then it just blows up into the chorus, which is very important to really keep your listeners' attention. But the other thing, besides the mixing, mastering, the arrangement, is this drum loop. It just has so much energy to it. And it's not just the notes themselves that are being hit, it's the gaps, like this part where it just, because if you had another note right here, we'll just grab the snare just as something, it doesn't really matter. Like if you kept going with it, I think it would lose a little energy rather than add to it if you didn't have that gap there, because I feel like it pulls it back in very effectively. One other thing I do with the snare roll right here, which I'll let you listen to. I don't know if it's in the song. It's a little hard to make out, but I take one of the snares, I then reverse it, normalize it. I set it to actually be one beat so that when it comes in for this little gap right here, it sort of flings itself into the next part, which adds just a little more energy.
I've been working for the
I'll be honest, I couldn't quite tell what this note was, so I directly sampled it from the song. I was a little lazy on that. I don't really care though, to be honest. It is what it is. You'll probably hear there's a few little weird things, and that's just because my patterns right here were actually, before I merged them, slightly off. So it's pushed things forward a little bit. But, nothing that can't be fixed with quantization. Effectively, though, except for a few of the little more twinkly, high-up guitar parts that add extra background rhythm, this is the main bulk of the song. The things to consider the most, I would say, for making a song like this, is having a really percussive pop-style guitar, reverb on it, very clean sound, honestly. A good bass. I'm using the contact library for the palm muted Scarby Rickenbacker bass, set to ideal standard. That Tweedman and the dub bass, as well as the direct input settings, are my favorite for the contact library. I would highly suggest, if you want to build up a library of sounds for pop production, anything modern, I would say to actually look into EDM packs, etc., because they have the most versatile drum packs I've ever seen. The bass sounds are fantastic. the chords, the serum settings are absolutely amazing. Like, I think I found most of my stuff from the same pack that this was in. Which I might make another video on if you guys want. I can go over the sort of samples I've seen on Splice that are my favorites. I can even compile a pack for you guys to view and see where I pull my sounds from. But other than that, this is the song. This is the entirety of the song, and it's fantastic. All right, I'll leave you with that.